Mindfulness in schools. Why? The universe is made of opposites, and it's a good thing. That universe would probably tip over if it weren't. It's a natural law to provide counterbalances and opposites to make things run smoothly. We have hot, cold, male, female, summer, winter, the yin-yang, all to keep everything balanced. Students today were born into a world that is going at a hyperspeed. They were dropped onto a merry-go-round that's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And they don't know it. They don't know that it's hyperspeed because it's all they know. But for those of us that have been around for a little while, we have watched this evolution over the last 20 years, and we have watched things more than double in speed. I was speaking to a couple hundred kids in a middle school in Chicopee last year, and I was describing the differences between their world and the world 20 years ago. They could not believe that there were no laptops, that there were no cell phones. To them, 20 years seems like 50 years because it was 2 generations of change within one. Now, this hyperspeed world that we live in is not going to change. In fact, it's probably going to get a little faster. But when that happens, there are consequences. The World Health Organization now refers to stress as an epidemic. An epidemic in our society, and it is the direct result of the technological, internet-driven world that we live in. It goes for faster and more. So what do? We take this imbalance of hyperspeed and faster more, and we create the opposite to bring counterbalance and balance into the world. What's the opposite of faster more? No, slower and less. And teaching children how to do this opposite so that it can counterbalance the speed of the world today. It would be a problem if it were just the hyperspeed, but we have to deal with more with our teenagers. In the year 2000, the advent of PET scans and fMRIs, scientists were able to discover that the teen brain is not fully developed until age 25. The brain, which does not have a brain, responds to stimuli. So the child that sits on the couch and eats bag after bag of potato chips and drinks liter after liter of soda while playing video games is training its brain to build itself for that future. The brain doesn't know. The child that practices mindfulness and practices patience and waiting and keeping the mind focused is training its brain for that particular future. And it will respond. Scientists have proven that the brain will respond like a muscle does lifting weights. Practicing mindfulness changes the brain matter even in an adult, but better yet, makes a formation for the child during their development. As if that weren't bad enough. In 2011, psychologists at Harvard University did a great study. They gave 2,500 people an app. These people were prompted 3 times a day for a month, and when they were prompted, they would have to take out their app and answer these questions immediately. What are you doing? Are you focused? Are you happy? Put it away. After a month, everybody submitted their data, and the scientists concluded these 2 things. 1, the human brain wanders 46.9% of the time. Second conclusion, when we're in the moment, we're happiest. Mindfulness teaches us the awareness of what is happening now. We're able to identify any turbulence that is going on within us if we have the skill to be quiet and to be still so that we can notice. While running around at 1,000,000 miles an hour, we're going too fast to be able to notice these things. Students learn to regulate their emotions. They identify them, and then they learn what to do in order to create the balance. Students learn to control impulses because of the patience that they practice when exercising mindfulness. Students learn to focus and concentrate and cut down on the wandering of the mind that is just a human handicap. And students learn to empathize. Now, I can't prove this yet, but here's my theory on why students are more empathetic. As I had grown my program, The Culture of Mindfulness, as a head of middle school, after 3 years, I noticed, and colleagues noticed, that there was a lot less drama in the middle school. Less of the regular teen kind of activities like bullying and name calling, etc. My theory on this is that we are used to going out. We talk out, we see out, and we get used to everything being out. And then all of a sudden, we go in. It's very different. But when we go in and we travel further in, we see that it is where peace and love and calm and our true selves live. And it's a wonderful place. And I saw the kids learn about this wonder within themselves and then understand that others have this beautiful place also. And when they understood the value of their own self, they then found it a little harder to hurt somebody else's self. If they hadn't known about the self, go ahead and hurt. They don't know what they're hurting. But once they understood what it was in themselves, they had more empathy for others in our community. I believe that. Now, up to this moment, I've been talking mostly about how it's good for kids, and it is. They're developing, and these habits are great habits for them to learn for the rest of their life. But my programs are not limited to just kids. Teachers need to practice mindfulness at least as much as the kids do. They are overwhelmed. They are stressed. And they are unable to perform just as students are if they are stressed and meet their potential. So by practicing mindfulness, students and teachers are better able to do their jobs. But let's not stop there. It's also good for administrators and parents and board members and alumni, the entire community, because it is a way of living full-time, not, it's 10:20, we're going to do mindfulness this period. Mindfulness is a full-time job, and I'm able to help integrate this kind of a culture into a school. After 28 years of teaching in K through 12 schools at just about every job you can think of, I have no doubt in my mind, there is no question, that the most important thing that we can teach our students, starting in preschool, are the skills of mindfulness. Because if they are able to adopt these skills, everything that they do, the academic, the social, the behavioral, all of it becomes easier and better. It is the most important foundation we can create for our children.